Hi, I'm Yeoh Qi Wei, and this video will be about a presentation of my programming project, a MasterMind computer game. In this project, we were assigned to recreate a text-based MasterMind game, which is essentially a code guessing game. And instead of the traditional two-player game, in this version, it will only be a human code breaker up against a computer code master. The game itself is simple. The player will have to guess a secret code of 4 random colors set by the computer. The player will have to guess the code based on the feedback given by the computer, and the player wins once they crack the code. Now, I'll share a very simple demonstration of the program. When the program starts, users will be able to interact with the main menu of the game. From the main menu, users can learn about the game. They can look at the instructions of the game, or they can also play the game. In standard modes, users need to guess the secret code within 10 guesses in order to win. And different inputs or different incorrect inputs will not be counted as a valid guess. So, simple, red, purple, blue. So, as you can see, it is only counted as one guess. Users can go into practice mode as well. And users can type the colors, which it doesn't matter if they type in uppercase letter or lowercase letter. And they can leave the game. Now, I will be talking about interactive user menu. I have given text-based prompts throughout the game in this command line interface. These are some of the examples of interactions with the user in the game. Simple instructions are given in the main menu to guide the user. Reminders and basic instructions are also given at the start of each game. Besides that, specific prompts based on the errors are also given to the user to help them solve their problem. I will be talking about lists, or also known as arrays. A list is a tool that allows users to record or store data. Generally, a list helps to group up variables with similar characteristics or data type. It also helps users to create some form of sequence for the data stored. Thus, users can use lists in any computational task that requires data storage or data sequencing. In my program, I use lists to store data, such as the 6 possible colors, all the valid main menu options, and users' guess for the secret code. Since the data is all grouped up together, it makes it easier for users to make changes as well. For instance, if I need to add a new color into the game, I just have to simply add a new element into the list. I won't have to make any other changes in my code, and it would still run. As the name suggests, randomization can be used in any computational problems that requires randomized values. Randomized values can be used to generate PIN numbers or random passwords. It can also be used in any program that requires random selection. An example of that would be a lucky draw program. In this project, I have imported the Python's random library module to help me in generating a secret code for each game. The function here will select a random color from the all color list for 4 times, and in the end, it will return a randomly generated list of colors as the secret code. Moving on, I will be talking about decision making. Decision making is a simple logical process used to execute codes based on the conditions met. The simplest decision making structure in programming is the if-else statement. If-else statements are used in any simple computational problem that has a logic flow. Additionally, you can also create complex decision-making models using many if-else statements as well. These are some of the examples of decision-making structures in my project. Here I have a function used for error handling of the user's input. By implementing a combination of if-else statements and logical operators, I can return specific outputs and prompts based on the user's input error. This allows me to control the flow of the program. Next up, I'll be discussing about iterative processes. Similar to decision-making structures, iterative processes are also used to control the flow of the program. In fact, while loops and for loops can sometimes be referred to as repetitive if-else statements. Iterative processes are used to avoid rewriting the same code. It can be used for computational problems that have repetitive tasks or user-dependent conditions. For example, I have used nested for loops to repeat the process of comparing each element in the list of the user's guess to each element in the list of the secret code. By simply looping through the list, users can save time and energy by avoiding typing out a long and repetitive code. Used while loops to control the flow of the program based on the user's actions. For instance, the program will continue to ask the user for an input until one of the two conditions are met, which is when the user guesses the correct secret code, or when the user runs out of attempts in the standard mode. Last but not least, I will be talking about the usage of user-defined functions. User-defined functions are useful in organizing the code and labeling them with meaningful headings. Other users using the program can understand the code better by looking at the function's name. It also allows users to reuse code blocks instead of retyping the code. Additionally, it will also be easier to make changes or to troubleshoot the program when there's an issue. Here are some of the few examples of user-defined function in my program. The print straight line function simply prints out a straight line in the command line. This function is used in many occasions throughout the program to tidy up the console when the user is playing. Besides that, the game instruction function reads the game instruction text file and prints out the content every time the function is called. In conclusion, from this project, I have learned how to write simple programs using Python as I learned the difference in syntax between Python and Java. I have also learned the different methods used to validate the user's input and how to handle the errors. This is also my first time creating an elaborate game with menus in programming. In the future, if I were to further improve this version of the MasterMind game, I would like to have a point system and the game can be played with 2 players. I would also like to create a version of the game with a GUI instead. Moreover, I would also like to add a feature whereby users can save their game records. Before I end the video, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Matthew for his guidance and teachings throughout this course. That's the end of the video.